What's up everyone, welcome back to another live stream. Happy Sunday, happy weekend. Let me know how you guys are doing today. How was your week? How was your weekend as well? And if you are already getting ready for next week, and most particular for tomorrow. We are already halfway through the month of October, so we're basically 2 months away until the end of the year. And yeah, it's time to continue to push on, continue to be at our best. It's going to be still a lot of things happening until the end of the year. So if you are new to this stream, basically we're going to do our weekly market analysis, paying attention to different markets, FX indices, commodities, and a little bit of crypto as well. Basically try to understand what buyers are we expecting and where are the best opportunities for the week ahead. In terms of news, last week it was quiet, once again in terms of US news, aside from the retail sales, which was better than expected, and the unemployment claim. It was mostly a week with UK data and with the ECB, which was another rate cut in the Eurozone. And this week's not going to be different in terms of the news. We are not going to have that many news in the US again. Most is going to be on Thursday, where we're going to have the manufacturing services PMI. So that usually, especially when both data are being released combined, so that usually creates a little bit of volatility in the market. So that's something that you can expect. It starts in Eurozone, then UK, and then in the afternoon it goes into the US. So again, manufacturing has been a problem, especially in the Eurozone, but across all the world, that's a fact. And services, they've been slightly better, but as you can see here, they are just by the edge in the Eurozone. We're going to have interest rate decision in Canada. Apparently it's expected 50 basis points. At this point, they have cut 3 times, but every single time it has been only 25 basis points. They're expecting now to go to 50. Again, unemployment was quite good in Canada. We had also CPI last week in Canada. It was slightly better than expected. So maybe that's kind of creating an incentive in here for the Bank of Canada to cut rates more aggressively, which is something that eventually we're going to see within the central bankers, which may start with a certain path with a normal cut, and then maybe they increase the size of the cut halfway through, or even pause. Right, we'll see what's going to happen. And we're going to have a few Fed members speaking. We're going to have also Christine Lagarde and the Bank of England Governor Bailey also speaking throughout the week. And we're going to continue with the Q3 earnings season. Like I think you're going to start with the tech this week. So that's going to be an interesting one to follow as we continue to approach close to the US election. At this point, basically, Trump looks like it is ahead of in the polls, especially in the betting pools that we see. Let's see if that actually and if the market is already adjusting to that fact or not. So again, in terms of the news, that's what matters the most for us. It's still not anything relevant in the US this week. So it looks like it's going to be the 3rd week in a row without any big news event that is affecting the US, in particular the dollar as well, which means that we may have another slow week or not in the dollar. We'll see. We have been looking, now that we are looking at the charts, we have been looking eventually for a retrace on the dollar. Dollar has been printing quite a bullish momentum throughout the month of October. Like since the end of September, beginning of October, we have now 3 consecutive weeks in a row. As you can see, it starts losing a little bit of momentum, but if you look at the weekly candle, it's quite strong, and we are now literally approaching this level in here of support resistance, perhaps a supply level as well on this candle that we can find some sell pressure, and that's exactly what we've been waiting for. Like so, initially there were 2 levels that we were looking for. Eventually, a little bit of signs of sellers around this level, and we found them, but then we never really managed to break at the lows that could eventually open the space for price to fill out of this. So that never happened, and because of that, price then just continued to move to the upside, and now we are into this next level. Right now we are reacting exactly from the lower edge of this level. We mentioned also there is a nice supply somewhere in here, more in the lower time frame, and then price could even go slightly higher. But price apparently just managed to hold this level in here. That was our analysis also on Thursday. So I also do pre-market analysis every evening at 7 p.m. So feel free to join as well if you got value from this stream, and if you want to share some trading ideas, feel free to join, and we can discuss some trading ideas as well in here. And if you have any chart that you'd like me to take a look at, feel free to also mention in the comments. And of course, if you are new, feel free to subscribe as well. So there you go. The dollar index actually managed to continue to respect that level in the evening, and then on Friday morning it went all the way to the downside, and now is basically breaking below this level. Right? This was already a break of these lows. This was actually one of the first lows that was broken on the way up, and that usually kind of initiates a zone 4 type of a move. Again, that's a video that I'm going to release this week. How to separate a trend in 4 different phases: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and zone 4. Basically, we have been creating how this move is a zone 3 type of a move, which is all this compression that's going on in here, and the transition from a zone 3 into a zone 4, which is basically the top. For now, it starts also with some break of structure in here, even before we create the high. Right? And of course, reacting from a good level on the left side, it always helps as well to identify where that top of zone 4 can happen. And all of a sudden, one of the targets that you can aim for is go all the way to the beginning of this zone 3. Like if you recall, one of the live streams that we did back on the 7th or 8th of October, we talked about exactly this scenario where price just created kind of this separation here. So we're looking eventually from a zone 2 type of a move into a zone 3. We want to see this separation happening, which is kind of some momentum going on, and also the break of an important level of structure, which starts kind of a new cycle in here. And we talked about that level where we could break a little bit of a structure, but instead of filling the spice, we don't do that. Price actually kind of just fakes out the level and starts moving upwards, which means that above this level, we can start looking for longs until price eventually gets to the level where eventually it wants to go to, like, which is that previous level support resistance or structure that we are now approaching in here. Meanwhile, what you have in here is a lot of manipulation, price kind of moving in a compression way, creating highs, lows, which provides opportunities for both the buyers and the sellers to try to trade, especially if you are an intraday trader. Like it looks like more of a swing trader. The easiest thing to do, it would have been just to go long and just grab out this move. But in reality, if you look in intraday, you actually still have opportunities to look for sales as well. And then prices retesting the extreme and moving to the upside until finally we have a break of a low in there. Since then, now price is moving to downside. Right now, what we have in here, right? We're going to have a potential zone in here that price can still go and react from. All right, so if price still wants to retest these highs, it can react from something there, or even this level in here as well, and find some sell pressure. So that's one of the levels that you can look for. Otherwise, price can go into the zone slightly above it, the one that you mentioned, which is also that supply level, right? So price is reacting from this level, which is basically this lower edge of this bigger range, but we do have that supply in there that price can eventually go and react from. The target hasn't really changed, right? There are 2 levels in here that I can see price still bouncing from, and one of them is literally this one. But now this can actually work quite nicely, because the break of this low, it may start to give the sign for many people that price wants to go lower, but price still has this level in here. So from here, price could actually bounce a little bit and then react from one of these levels and then make the bigger move to the downside, because this could actually work as an engulf to the downside, because it is a break of a low and it's an important low as well. But this fresh money in here can actually be the level where price could bounce before actually then making the move down. If price even breaks below this level, then in my opinion, it literally opens the door to go to the downside. But maybe instead of price making the deep retracement from here, it may actually go all the way and maybe find something else, maybe something in there, or maybe some extreme in here to go all the way, and then yes, and then potentially go and fill this range. This is the target that eventually I'm going to be looking for. This has been the target that I've been looking for throughout all this move to the upside. But always bearing in mind that price needed to break some structure, or this key structure in here, before reaching there. It never did it, so I would just let price continue to move to the upside until eventually goes down. I can actually letting price move to the upside like this, it's something that I like it, because it increases my risk reward eventually for the turn. Like, your price will just move from here to here, then as you can see, the distance is much smaller instead of looking for something like that, for example. Right, so that's a little bit of what we are going to be looking for on the dollar. Again, it's a slow week in terms of news. There's no big catalyst going on in the dollar or in the US, aside again from the manufacturing services PMI and then also the unemployment claims. And yeah, any earnings or any kind of news that may come out of the campaign, the US presidential campaign. Yeah, so that's a little bit of what we have. Again, if price does want to go slightly higher, and it can, we have the other levels in here that we are looking for. All right, but for now, I could see this one in here holding the same way that I could see these lows being in place on the euro dollar. All right, so that's my take in here on the dollar index. I'll definitely like to see price filling out this place in here maybe this week. If you look at the weekly candle, maybe something that we can do as well. So this is basically the low of the weekly candle. Basically, price just opened straight away in a bullish way without even any wick in there. If you look at the daily, yeah, it looks like that price could actually target a little bit of this low and then coming into this level. We'll see. May have this structure in here that was kind of, it was price respected at level in the lower time frame. We noticed that last week or so. All right, now jumping into the US indices, right? And this one in here, of course, is going to be affected from the earnings season. I do believe that this week maybe you have perhaps Apple or maybe Amazon or something like that. I haven't really checked the list, but there's going to be quite a few big tech companies announcing their earnings, and usually those earnings are actually announced at the closing, which means that in the evening you can have a lot of volatility going on in the US indices. Now, we managed to break again new all-time highs on the S&P. There's another week where we did that, and at this point price hasn't really managed to break any low. All right, so that's the main point that we need to pay attention in here, is that S&P hasn't really managed to break any important low. So it had this big push to the upside, it retraced all the way, all right, and it kept respecting this structure. Then it created another momentum to the upside, we talked about this, and then it came all the way just to test once again this demand zone. And now kind of, again, I still like this level, or I could see price bouncing a little bit from this level and even that one as well. So that's basically the two levels in here that we had. However, because we never really managed to break any important low, we actually respected the previous demand zone, there's still the risk that price could go higher. Something that I like in terms of this move to the upside, because aside from paying attention to where price actually is reacting from, it's also the way price is moving towards that high, like the approach. You call this level or this moment in here the approach, and we start breaking some lows. So that's nice to see, like even though basically price just broke that structure to react from this demand zone in here. Basically, that's basically the origin now of this move. But I think maybe in the lower time frame in here, okay, this is another demand. So you can see price is cleaning out the demands on the way up, which means that eventually when price turns, all this has been cleaned, which means that price can just easily navigate and push towards to the downside without really being held at these levels, without really finding any level of support in here that can keep price to the upside. But we definitely still need to break now this low in there. And kind of reacted from something in here. Yeah, reacted from something there. And again, I would like to see actually prices continue to move to the upside a little bit. So if by any chance, which I'm not really expecting that to happen, but if by any chance this high actually holds price and becomes top now, I would like to see a clear break of structure in here. I don't know, maybe a proper break and then price bouncing a little bit, go there again, and then you have the move down, right? Maybe there is even some kind of, I don't know, some kind of trend line that we can draw in here, and eventually notice that trend line also being broken before the move down. But what I mentioned is that I would like to see price start breaking some lows and creating a little bit of a structure in here where this small structure in there could be used as liquidity for price to move down. Right? But first we need a break to the downside in here. So that would be something that I would like to see in here on the S&P. Otherwise, then I think at this point the likelihood is that we can have new highs before moving to the downside. Nasdaq. Right, Nasdaq it's just a little bit different from what we have seen on the S&P, because Nasdaq did manage to break some structure here, right? Nasdaq with this move to the downside, it did manage to break these lows. Again, Nasdaq hasn't really managed to break new all-time highs. The all-time high at this point is still the one created back in July. We mentioned that there were some more orders in here that price could react from. All right, and it's happening at this point. We do have that high. We did manage to break this low. So again, that's another low being broken in here on Nasdaq, which just creates this nice scenario where you can actually have a deeper retracement from here. However, there are definitely a few levels in here that price can still move towards to. And I'm talking in particular about this price in here. All right, again, this low in here reacted nicely from this demand zone. Eventually, I would like to see this price being filled all the way until there. Price reacted really nicely from this demand zone in here. All right, so price went all the way to react from the supply all the way back to the demand, and now we are stuck within this range. Right, that's basically where we are at this point. So we need to see what price field is going to do at around this level. Again, there may be still another level in here that price could react from. All right, so this low, this high in here may just react from the lower edge. Maybe that extreme can still work. Whenever price gets there, it's going to be interesting. Price is creating a lot of compression or kind of a range in here in the middle, and again, I'm not really expecting price to just turn from here, at least to go and react from this level or even the one above. Basically, all these green marks that I have in here are levels where where I would like to see price reacting from. Like if I had this one here, price already reacted, then a little bit more at the extreme, and maybe there's still another one in there, and then eventually for price to go here. This is just a scenario which I would needed to see price breaking these lows to actually turn a bit more bearish. So if this low continues to hold, then yeah, we may still challenge a little bit more to the upside. But I like that at this point S&P is starting to show some weakness by breaking this level of structure. So I would like to see that happening. Maybe if the earnings are not good enough, perhaps we can have a move to downside. Meanwhile, because we are so close to the US election, I don't really think there's going to be anything or any big move that's going to happen before the election, right? Unless something unexpected happens. In terms of the Fed, at this point, we are still, the market is pricing in a 25 basis point rate cut, which again, there is no surprise at this point. I think that's already priced in, and I'm not expecting to see any kind of big volatility in here or gaining any kind of momentum on the US indices until then. Like unless there is literally a big disappointment in some kind of data, or there's maybe a big surprise to the upside as well in terms of any earning season. Yeah, so that's the Nasdaq, S&P as well. Dow continue to move a bit more to the upside. I do like to find a little bit of that break to the downside in there, but it just continues to move upwards. All right, so let it continue to go. What we can see in here is that it starts to lose a little bit of momentum, in the sense that when price goes up, it kind of has a little bit of retracement straight away. And eventually that can be a target to look for, but price first needs to break this low. Okay, this is now the new low being created in there, which was respected by that one. There's no break in that sense. But yeah, this is basically what you're going to be looking for. Again, price is at all-time highs. I made a video 1 or 2 months ago how to trade at all-time highs. So you can kind of understand a little bit my thought process when price is at all-time highs, when you don't have any data from the left side. How can you actually try to predict when price is close to get to an extreme and perhaps start to retrace to the downside, like when they're expecting the top to be created. And one of the steps is start to show weakness as price is moving to the upside, creating the all-time highs. It start to show some weakness straight away and creating kind of a compression move. Until then, we want to see start noticing some breaks of structure to the opposite side. Doesn't really mean that the top is already in place in that moment, but at least it shows that the sellers are managing to overcome the buyers at key levels, which starts getting that sensation, that signal of potential weakness. And then, of course, price can still go a little bit more, and then you are looking for PA a bit more into the lower time frame. Of course, still paying attention to the news, what kind of catalysts or what's the market sentiment as well, to see if you are actually getting closer or not to a top in here, or to reversal on a move that is literally creating new all-time highs every week or so. And then also manage the expectation of every target that you're looking for. Be a bit more conservative. Don't really try to trade every single double top, because that's not going to really work out for you if you are, especially when you're trading at the all-time highs. DAX as well is approaching that level, similar in here. So price DAX in this case never really managed to break below that low, which could open the door a little bit more for a move to the downside. So to respect it, this level didn't even got really close to the extreme here, just the upper edge. And meanwhile, now it's reacting from this level, right? Again, we haven't really managed to break this low, so price is still holding in there, which means that I wouldn't be surprised again if you do actually have a high being created in here, right? Basically, price is reacting from the extreme of that supply. That's perfect, but we definitely need to see a low being broken in this case in here to actually look for that turn. And because price never really managed to break this level, I would prefer actually to see some kind of fake out. However, something that can happen as well is to create perhaps a little bit of a structure in here. Price tries to go down, and then you can use all this liquidity in here to have that final fake out, and then price could actually break and maybe have a bigger move to the downside from here, right? That would be also a possibility on the DAX, which continues also to be in this bullish momentum. Looking at crypto, yeah, Bitcoin getting again closer to that 69k. Again, crypto may be actually already pricing in a potential win from Trump in the US election. Okay, looks like that Trump's going to be literally pro crypto, and that can also be one of the reasons for this bullishness that we have seen for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, it looks like that could be a great positive catalyst for crypto, and perhaps that could be finally the moment where we see Bitcoin breaking all-time highs again and resuming the move to the upside, and who knows, like actually starting to move towards more the 80k level. Looking at the charts in here, we definitely need to break this level. Yeah, we definitely need to break this supply level, and then you still have the other one above, and aside from that, I don't really see anything else that price could react from there. All right, so yeah, it's literally something in there, or price is ready to drop. What we're having here is that price also is starting to lose a little bit of momentum, but there's not really any break or any important break to the downside, which means that this could still just be a continuation in here. Price can easily maybe just react from something somewhere in here and continue, or we still have even that one as well, that price could go and perhaps continue to the upside in here as well. All right, so that's Bitcoin at this point, and yeah, it looks like that's maybe an anticipation of a Trump win that maybe can, the reason behind this big push. So Ethereum as well moving to the upside. Now we're testing this level. We do have a zone a little bit higher where I could see Ethereum reacting from. Aside from that, is towards that level. All right, so it will be somewhere around here, or eventually, or the next level, it will be somewhere around this highs in here, close to 2,900. So it created that move. Again, we mentioned that in here you need to be a little bit cautious. Again, the potential move could be still to the upside. Price reacted really nicely from these lows, and yeah, which means that by creating this double top, double bottom, almost triple bottom in here, there is a high probability that price actually wants to challenge and go higher from where it is. So that's definitely the potential scenario. Looking at currency indices, and you start with the euro index, right? So again, this week we had the ECB and we saw the momentum, right? So we had that initial bearish move to the downside. We have been talking about that potential scenario. We have been bearish in here, even though price apparently was respecting this level in here for quite a long time, but we finally managed to go below that level, right? This for me is still an engulf down of price kind of respecting that level, and I wanted to see price moving a bit more to the downside, in particular towards this level. Price found some level of support somewhere around here. Maybe that was already a demand zone that was in there where price reacted from. So again, I could still see a little bit more of a move to the downside, but perhaps that's not really necessary at this point after price picking out this level. This is a key level in here to pay attention on the euro index, which is the potential break of this level to the upside. Right, so this level needs to be broken in here, maybe this trend line as well. And if that happens, then perhaps we could have that turn in here, right? At least a push to the upside. From there, we do have this demand zone in here as well. So something like that could happen. 1 second, let's just readjust this. Like so, there you go. Like breaking, giving the signs a little bit that price wants to go higher, then react a little bit, go, and then finally come back in here and go a bit more to the upside. Like so, something like that could happen. And again, still aware that price could go all the way and react from that level. So we'll see what's going to happen here on the euro index. But yes, after that big sell-off on Thursday with ECB, then on Friday we start recovering the move. All right. I just noticed that I was in mute. Perfect. Sorry, guys. Just noticed that I did all my recap on mute. So let's do that again. Looking for shorts on the dollar, longs on the euro dollar, potential shorts on the end pairs, longs on oil at the lows. EU-US indices, attention to the earnings and to see if Nasdaq actually holds the highs or not. I'm expecting new highs on the S&P. Dow is starting to lose some momentum. Gold and silver just let it go higher and not really touching at this point. Again, silver in particular looking for a target at around 35, but until then, price of course going to retrace a little bit. But the bigger shorts I think is going to happen after that 35 level is reached. What else? Yeah, euro potentially move to the upside, dollar down. Pound, I would like even a little bit more to the downside, to be honest. Euro pound can be a good pair to look for potential longs. That's basically it. That's basically it. So, guys, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow morning. It's another pre-market analysis at 7 p.m. So feel free to join. Feel free to look at the market together. I try to find opportunities for specifically the next day. Today it was more of a weekly analysis. Where I'm going to position myself for the week ahead, of course, with adjustments as price continues to evolve and move. So thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.